So earlier in this handout, we actually talked about, we clarified or revisited our understanding towards 18th century and all the centuries, of course, modern English, Middle English, and Anglo-Saxon or Old English. What was the reason? So that you can cumulatively understand that what is at stake and how poetry has evolved, and there will be drastic changes in the 18th century, specifically because we are concerned with Alexander Pope, and he belongs to this age, and this age, that is 18th century, has certain characteristics to offer. Just remember that there is no clear cut or uh, very hard and fast kind of a boundary available for you to analyze and categorize certain poets into certain ages. They might fall into multiple ages as well. Multiple movement का वो हिस्सा हो सकते हैं. Now these are some of the characteristics of early 18th century poetry, that is Augustan age as well. The foregoing history of English literature of the 18th century has been included to illustrate 18th century poetry had elements of that characteristics of novel, periodical essay, satire, prose, and reason. So, eventually, these drastic changes were there. Yes, it is still poetry, but it has a very
मैम आपकी स्क्रीन शो नहीं हो रही और आवाज भी नहीं आ रही।
major. Is that valid for all of you?
नो मैम हमें शो हो रही है आवाज भी आ रही है उनका
Uh,
शायद इंटरनेट इशू है।
All right, but just try and reconnect, rejoin, go to a window or something that might help. Because mere end say whatever is required, I'm doing that, right? Anyway, going back to the discussion, this is being recorded. You can listen to the point that is being missed at the moment later. That's all right. So, what I was trying to tell you is that the 18th century poetry had great influences from these prose, novel writing, reasoning, and periodical essay writing. Now, these influences definitely uh, provided some change, some stylistic, and as well as thematic changes to poetry of 18th century. So, pop is going to be quite complicated as compared to what we have studied in the Fairy Queen or Paradise Lost. Yes, those two were also complicated, but the complication that you might find in a Alexander Pope, it's going to be quite different from that. So remember that 18th century poetry, Augustan poetry, is not only following the poetic form, but it is also highly influenced by prose, reasoning, satire, writing, periodical essay writing, and novelistic characteristics. There is blank verse, there is free verse. Yes, there is rhythm, meter, and rhyme as well, but then there is free hand given to the poets to utilize. From the above brief history that we discussed yesterday, 18th century literature, it is clear that the ethos of the age was fully reflected in the prose and poetry of the period. So, 18th century is not only famous for poetry but also for prose. Like yesterday, I told you that in certain ages, movements, certain genres were highlighted or at the peak, and in Augustan age, we have prose and poetry. Even when we read 18th century poetry, you'll be able to find um, a smooth flow of the poetic lines as we find in prose, direct, clear, cut, and forthright. This is the list of characteristics that you should remember when you're going to talk about 18th century poetry with regards to Pope. There are no complicated poetic structures, and poetry is written in rhymed couplet. How do we define rhymed couplet? Rhymed couplets are two lines. Couplet से couple बनता है, तो couplet मतलब दो lines of same length that rhyme and complete one thought. So that is the proper definition of a couplet, that it is going to have a rhyming scheme, it is going to have same length, and it is going to convey one complete thought. There is no limit to the length of the lines. Rhyming words are words that sound the same when spoken. They do not necessarily have to be spelled the same. Now, one by one, we'll just look at these characteristics. Number one, 18th century poetry is known as neoclassical poetry. Neo means new, and classical means writings that follow the style and works of ancient Greek and Roman poets. So, 18th century poetry is not only Augustan poetry, it's not only Restoration poetry, it's not only the poetry of Pope or age of Pope, this is also neoclassical poetry. So, neoclassical poetry, in a return to and restoration of classicism, which is associated with art of antiquity, harmony, clarity, restraint,
मैम कुछ
universality,
समझ नहीं आ रहा।
and ideal. what I'm trying to say, just focus. What I'm trying to say is that 18th century poetry had the elements of classical poetry, the neoclassical poetry, the Roman poets and Greeks. Yes, we have not studied Roman and Greek poets, we know that, but Roman and Greek poets were mentioned in John Milton as well, and in Fairy Queen as well, Virgil, Homer, all those writers that I keep telling you to read about. They had certain influences on Milton and Edmund Spencer, and pop is no different. But pop also has influences from these past poets, such as Fairy Queen and Paradise Lost. So, these lines that you can see, harmony, clarity, restraint, universality. What is universality? That the theme that was there in the neoclassical age, in classical age, or in all those ages which came before 18th century, there were universal themes, and same appeal has been found in 18th century poetry as well. Then the second point that is important is rationalism. What is the first point? That 18th century is also known as neoclassical poetry. What is neoclassical poetry? Neoclassical poetry is everything before that came before 18th century, which may include classical writers, which also include the new inventions and experimentations. ठीक है, तो पहला पॉइंट सिंपली पुट ये है कि 18th सेंचुरी पोइट्री को न्यू क्लासिकल पोइट्री भी कहते हैं, उसमें क्लासिकल लिटरेचर के भी करेक्टरिस्टिक्स है, और उसमें जो न्यू इन्वेंशंस एंड डिस्कवरीज ऑन द पार्ट ऑफ राइटर्स आ चुके हैं वो भी इनकॉर्पोरेट किए जाते हैं, दैट मे इंक्लूड restraint, clarity, universality, harmony, and this brings complication as well. So I hope now the first characteristic of 18th century poetry is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Then the second one is rationalism. What is rationalism? As the name suggests, रैशनल का मतलब ये होता है लॉजिकल, और अभी हमने फर्स्ट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक में ये पढ़ा भी है कि लॉजिकल होना या लॉजिक या रीजनिंग को फॉलो करना वाज पार्ट ऑफ क्लासिकल लिटरेचर, बट देन there were new inventions in the age of Milton and before him where experimentation was done, और अब 18th century में इन सब की amalgam यानी the mixture of all these characteristics will be there. So this is the most essential feature of neoclassical poetry. Remember, do not confuse yourself कि हम 18th century के characteristics पढ़ रहे हैं तो न्यू क्लासिक कहाँ से आ गया. न्यू क्लासिकल पोइट्री इज इक्वल टू 18th century poetry, and it also had rationalism. It is an established fact that poetry is the vehicle of emotion and imagination, while prose is the vehicle of reason and intellect. That is somehow most of the people define it. But can you write a scientific treatise in poetry? Not really. Can you express mathematical theorems through poetry? Not again. No. Again, in a similar way, emotions are best expressed through poetry. Poetry is the natural and spontaneous overflow of the emotions and imagination. Abstract ideas are heightened feelings and deep emotions that cannot be directly expressed through prose need poetry, which is a free flow of sounds, images, and ideas. अब देखिए ये एक रीकैप था कि पोइट्री और प्रोज को हम कैसे देखते हैं. दिस इज हाउ वी लुक एट पोइट्री एंड प्रोज. बट इन 18th सेंचुरी देर वॉज अ ड्रास्टिक चेंज. हमने पहले तक 18th सेंचुरी से पहले तक ये हमारे पास एक क्लैरिटी थी कि प्रोज और पोइट्री की लैंग्वेज में फ़र्क होता है, और पोइट्री वही होती है जिसमें सारे इमोशंस और इमेजिनेशन और फैंसी को डिस्क्राइब किया जाता है. लेकिन बट इन 18th सेंचुरी, एज पॉइंटेड अबव, द पोइट्स प्रेफर्ड लॉजिक, reasoning, sound sense, and judgment as against feelings, sentiments, and emotions. So these neoclassic poets, they wanted to go back to reasoning, they wanted to go back to the classical foundation of poetry writing rather than the new compromised or new experimentation. Therefore, the 18th century poetry is very complicated because it follows rationalism that has to do with reasoning and less with emotions. But that is not to say कि emotions थे ही नहीं, लेकिन focus जो है वो reasoning की तरफ भी चला गया था. But in the 18th
एक्सक्यूज
century,
मी मैम,
जी जी,
मैम इस लेक्चर की रिकॉर्डिंग हो रही है या नहीं? यहाँ पे बारिश है तो नेट का बहुत इश्यू है, आपकी आवाज़ बिल्कुल नहीं आ रही.
अच्छा ठीक है, हो रही है. But in the 18th century, as pointed above, अच्छा चले, give me a minute. I have to take this call and then we continue. Okay, so we were at the point where we were discussing that how 18th century saw a change in their understanding towards poetry. They started using the poetic form to convey not only their feelings but also logic, reasoning, and sound sense and judgment as well. The 18th century neoclassical poets viewed reason as the mainspring and inspiration for their poetry. Before 18th century, most of the poets they looked at poetry from emotional perspective, from imagination, abstract ideas, emotions, or sentiments that were exaggerated. But neoclassic poets they were of the view that poetry is a very strong form and should be used to showcase reasoning as well. This emphasis on reason in a large measure curtailed spontaneity and rejected fancy and imagination, which form the very source of romantic poetry. As a result, 18th century poetry often seemed artificial and manufactured, at times labored. Neoclassicism is distinctly different from romanticism. Of course, romanticism is the next part that we need to study, but today I'm not going to talk about romanticism because it will, um, you know, confuse you, but I'll just tell you the differences between these two. Now, if we need to understand that how neoclassical poetry, 18th century poetry and romanticism they are apart from each other. देखिए एक चीज़ को बहुत बढ़ा चढ़ाकर बार बार बताया जाए तो इंसान की फितरत में है कि वो तंग आ जाता है. क्लासिकल लिटरेचर को ख़त्म कर कर फिर हमारे पास एक न्यू रेनेसांस आया यानी रीबर्थ आया. अब रीबर्थ में क्या हो रहा था कि बहुत ही आउट ऑफ प्रपोर्शन सब कुछ चल रहा है रेनेसांस में. देन न्यो क्लासिज्म 18th सेंचुरी दोबारा आया कि न्यो क्लासिक्स वर ऑफ द व्यू कि हमें क्लासिकल लिटरेचर से भी करेक्टरिस्टिक्स लेने चाहिए और न्यू इन्वेंशंस को भी इनकॉर्पोरेट करना चाहिए, जिसने 18th सेंचुरी की पोइट्री को बहुत ही कॉम्प्लिकेटेड, डिफ़िकल्ट और फुल ऑफ रीजनिंग, लॉजिक एंड क्या कहना चाहिए रिजिडिटी, यानी उसमें एक रिजिडिटी सी आ गई. उसके अगेंस्ट यानी न्यो क्लासिकल लिटरेचर के अगेंस्ट, उसके रिजिडिटी के अगेंस्ट एक रिवोल्ट आया जिसे रोमांटिसिज्म कहते हैं. सो ये सारे एजेस जिनका मैंने नाम लिया थे कनेक्टेड टू ईच अदर, दे कंट्रीब्यूट टू ईच अदर. जब तक हम तीनों को साइड बाय साइड समझने की कोशिश नहीं करेंगे this will be difficult. All you need to remember is that 18th century poetry is also known as neoclassical poetry because it includes Greek Roman poets as well. It takes the new inventions and inquiries as well that leads to harmony, clarity, restraint, universality, and ideal understanding. And then it also incorporates rationalism. Although poetry is an overflow of emotions and imagination, but instead of only showcasing emotions and imagination, 18th century poetry, that is new classical poetry, also showcased judgment, लॉजिक, रीजनिंग एंड साउंड सेंस. एंड जब ये बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया तो उसके अगेंस्ट एक रिएक्शन आया. दैट रिएक्शन इज कॉल्ड romanticism. Now, these are major differences between classicism and romanticism. The first difference is that classicism stresses on reason, but romanticism focuses on imagination. ठीक है, पहला बहुत clearly आपको समझ आ रहा होगा. Secondly, diction in classical poetry is more rigid, measured, systematic. It uses decorative diction. As compared to this, romanticism only follows simple diction meant for common people, written in um, simple language for common people. Everyday idiom and diction is used. Thirdly, classists emphasize on emphasis is on form, simplicity, proportion, and restrained emotion. ठीक है. Romanticism में भी होता है. They also emphasize on simplicity or they allow spontaneous flow of emotions without an restraint. However, neoclassical poetry, 18th century poetry is mainly in the form of heroic couplets. अभी हमने couplets की बात की थी. Couplets are two lines. They could be of same length and they have to have a rhyming scheme. Same rhythm should be there and they have to discuss one thought. तो जो द रेप ऑफ द लॉक है जो हमने पढ़ना भी है वो भी हीरोइक कपलेट्स में लिखा हुआ है. अगेन इसकी डेफिनेशन दी हुई है, वो आप देख सकते हैं. The heroic couplet traditionally appears in long narrative poems called epics, but has been used by Dryden and Pope in their mock epics that parody the heroic tone of epic poetry. Every couplet is a complete unit with the grammatical pause at the end of the second line. In romantic poetry, there is an amazing variety of form with stanza replacing the heroic couplet. तो दोनों एजेस में
Excuse me,
बेसिक
ma'am.
डिफरेंस क्या है? एक सेकेंड बेटे, दोनों एजेस में बेसिक डिफरेंस क्या है कि रोमांटिक पोइट्री में वैरायटी बहुत ज़्यादा है, लेकिन जो हमारी न्यू क्लासिक पोइट्री है उसमें वैरायटी कम है, उसमें हीरोइक कपलेट्स हैं, उसमें मॉक एपिक्स हैं और ऐसी चीज़ें हैं. So the fourth one is, fourthly, the world, according to classical poets, have a rigid structure. Like I told you, every classical poet has an understanding that this certain rules and regulations of writing a poem should be followed, and they sought for or they seeked for rigid structures. For them, this meant enforcing morals and ethics in society that parallels the strictly divine world order. So it was not only on the language level, it was also on the level of what they were portraying. They did not want to talk about the social evils of the society, they wanted to talk about the things that were morally correct. For example, nowadays there are so many movies, dramas, short movies, and reels are being made on taboo topics. Taboo topics are those topics which are there in a society, but society does not want to talk about them, and they don't want them to be shown on TV as well. Now, every now and then, when there is a Pakistani drama that focuses on marital rape, pedophilia, sexual abuse, क्या और क्या होती है, जॉइंट फैमिली सिस्टम में सेक्सुअल अब्यूज़, तो हमारी इवाम क्या करती है, व्हाट डू वी डू नॉट वांट टू टॉक अबाउट इट, वी वुड लाइक टू पुट अ बैन ऑन इट. ऐसा नहीं है कि हर जगह ऐसा हो रहा है, बट इट इज़ अ रियलिटी, हम इसके बारे में बात करना ही पसंद नहीं करते. तो जो क्लासिकल पोइट्स थे, क्लासिकल लिटरेचर था, वो इसी रिजिडिटी का शिकार था कि वो कोई ऐसी चीज़ के बारे में किसी भी लिहाज से बात ही नहीं करना चाहता था जिसे वो अप्रूव नहीं करता है. लेकिन 18th सेंचुरी में न्यू क्लासिकल लिटरेचर में ये चेंज हुआ. क्यों हुआ? क्योंकि क्लासिकल लिटरेचर के कन्वेंशंस एंड इंस्पिरेशन को लेकर न्यू इन्वेंशंस को इनकॉर्पोरेट कर कर पोइट्स ने एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन स्टार्ट की. Fifthly, neoclassical poetry is objective, while romantic poetry is highly subjective. Objectivity and subjectivity is something that I've been sharing with you since day one. Objective means that it follows a certain viewpoint that is neutral, and romantic poetry is having a viewpoint that is very personal. So all the romantic poets, they are going to talk about their personal feelings, but neoclassical poetry focuses on a social evil. It tries to use certain conventions of epic or couplet writing in order to convince the audiences about a social evil. Collectively उसको represent वो करता है. पोएट की पर्सनल क्या कहना चाहिए, पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू तो डेफिनेटली शोकेस होते हैं, लेकिन वो किस तरह से करता है, द वे दे डू इट इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी ऑब्जेक्टिव, वेरी न्यूट्रल. द रोमांटिक्स गेव फ्री एंड इनहिबिटेड एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ व्हाट दे इंट्यूटिवली फेल्ट. इंट्यूशन क्या होती है? Intuition is like inner voice. Whatever inner voice told them to write, they wrote it. Romantics did not follow any objectivity. They felt like that the tree is dancing, and they believed it, that the tree is dancing. On the contrary, neoclassical poetry cannot say that the tree is dancing, because that is not logical. That does not have any rationalism behind it. Do you get my point? That romantic poetry or romantic poets were of the view that whatever they saw fit is the reality, which is contradiction to actual reality. So they were very fanciful, they were highly imaginative. Sixthly, the strong belief in an unchanging rational and moral order made the classicists believe that everything, including nature and human nature, can be rationally apprehended. Since classicism was prevalent throughout the history before 18th century and even in 18th century, that everybody thought that this is the true reality, कि यही reality है. इसको समझने के लिए एक छोटी सी एग्जांपल मैं आपको दूंगी. जो डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस होती है, स्पेसिफिकली रिमोट एरियाज़ में, ऐसे एरियाज़ में जहाँ पर एक्सपोजर की कमी है, वेन्यूज़ की कमी है, जहाँ पर men do not let women go outside at all. They are not educated, they have never been outside their homes. So for them, that domestic abuse is a common and a natural occurring. For them, they do not know any better. For them, they believe that this is the reality and this is how the world works. For you and me, fortunately enough, we know that there is a better world waiting for us, and we have a say, we have a voice to contribute. But people, or specifically women and children who have never been outside their house or their ज़िला डिस्ट्रिक्ट और वो जो छोटी छोटी जगहों में वो रहते हैं, उन्हें लगता है उनकी रियलिटी ही वही है और वो उसे एक्सेप्ट ही कर लेते हैं, बिकॉज उन्हें पता ही नहीं होता कि ये सच नहीं है और यही ज़िंदगी का क्रक्स नहीं है. सो जो क्लासेस थे, दे हैड द सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ रिजिड थॉट प्रोसेस दैट दे बिलीव्ड that rationality and moral order is above all, and therefore nature, human psyche, natural phenomena, they should be apprehended and controlled in the same similar manner, which was not okay with the romanticists, and they definitely revolted against it, and they were more intuitive and imaginative. Then, seventhly, classists believed in traditional values of humanity and would not challenge tradition and laws of existence that it had sanctioned. Same point, that whatever was happening, whatever was being followed, they blindly followed it. They did not want to challenge it at all. They thought that it was literature's function to highlight these values, that it was that literature was supposed to be didactic in nature. It was supposed to be a teaching or a learning moral encompass for the audiences, that it has an agenda. Now this again limits man's knowledge potential, as he's not free to explore. जब मैं explore ही नहीं कर सकती, जब मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि कुछ और चीज़ें available हैं, तो how would I evolve? How would I change? How would betterment or development will occur? In सारी चीज़ों के लिए change is inevitable, and if somebody refuses to change, if some language refuses to adopt and adapt, if any poetic form refuses to adapt and adopt, it dies, it goes, or it vanishes or fades away. Same goes for trends these days. If we do not follow a certain trend, उसके followers, जैसे वो बेल बॉटम्स आते थे ना बेटे पहले, जैसे ही उसके यूजर्स यानी उसको पहनने वाले कम हुए, वो फैशन भी आउट ऑफ फैशन हो गया. फिर बहुत पुराने ज़मानों में चमकीले कपड़े होते थे, शाइनी कपड़े होते थे. नाउ इफ़ यू सी दीज डेज, दे आर बैक इन फैशन. व्हाट्स हैपनिंग? दैट changes are inevitable, and how do they occur? They occur because there are users, propagators, pioneers, and followers of those trends. And same goes for this literary genre as well, that there were people who were willing to let go of those outdated traditional ways of writing poetry. They wanted to break away from the monotonous of writing that kind of poetry. As for romantics, they wrote about how man has no boundaries and has endless possibilities to help him in his spiritual growth and personal development. Who do you agree with? Do you think romanticism is in the right, or the classists? Who do you believe in? What is your opinion?
Your opinion. I think, ma'am, classes.
Okay, you prefer classes because there is a rule, there is a certain structure to be followed, there is this certain clarity to be followed. Fair enough. What about anybody else? Somebody who believes in the romanticism is better than classism. अच्छा देखिए, दोनों में कोई गलत या सही नहीं है, बेटर और लेस बेटर भी नहीं है. इट्स जस्ट व्हाट इज योर प्रेफरेंस. आपको क्या लगता है कि क्या बेहतर है?
Ma'am, I think romanticism.
Okay, can you give me one or two reasons?
I think because it's not entirely that the romantic poets don't use any rationalism or logic. Obviously, they have their emotions and their regulations in their mind. So they also have that a sequence in their mind that they know what logic and everything is, but they prefer human emotions with it in a certain way.
Okay, very well put. Now, you probably are able to answer that way because you probably know something about romanticism already, or you have read something about it in some other course or self studies there. Now, one of you said, of course, rest of you do not have opinions, and people who do not have opinions, they are going to the special level of hell, as quoted by Dan Brown. तो ये आप याद रखें, opinions होना बहुत important है बेटे, बाकी आपकी choice है. Point being कि अभी क्योंकि आपको यहाँ तक पता है, जब आप विक्टोरियन पोइट्री के बारे में कुछ पढ़ेंगे, मॉडर्न पोइट्री के बारे में कुछ पढ़ेंगे, और पोस्ट मॉडर्न पोइट्री के बारे में कुछ
मैम
पढ़ेंगे, और जो आजकल पोइट्री चल रही है उसके बारे में पढ़ेंगे, तो शायद आपका ओपिनियन चेंज हो जाए, इवॉल्व हो जाए, आपको और क्लैरिटी प्रोवाइड हो जाए. डू यू गेट माई पॉइंट? कि इस पॉइंट तक जो हमें समझ आ रही है उसमें आपका पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ये है कि क्लासिज्म इज़ बेटर और रोमांटिसिज्म इज़ बेटर, बट इवेंचुअली these opinions they are also of a fickle nature. Fickle nature का मतलब ये होता है कि they may change, they may deviate, they may drift away from its sound grounds, just like classism. देखिए क्लासिज्म रोमांटिक एज में भी फॉलो किया जा सकता था अगर राइटर्स चाहते, लेकिन मोनोटनस इतनी ज़्यादा हो गई थी, सेम चीज़ें इतनी ज़्यादा हो गई थी, कुछ न्यूनेस नहीं थी, दैट दे हैव टू ब्रेक अवे फ्रॉम इट. तो जैसे जैसे आप एजेस पढ़ते जाएंगे यू विल सी दैट नन ऑफ देम are better than the other one. They all have something to contribute. They all have something important to contribute. और सब अपनी अपनी जगह में एक complete picture को represent कर सकते हैं. हाँ बेटे अब बताओ what's the question? कोई पूछ रहा था कुछ?
नहीं वो मैं उसका आंसर दे रही थी कि क्लासिज्म में मेरे मुताबिक ज़्यादा बेटर है, ये कह रही थी मैं.
Okay, reason?
क्योंकि मैम इसका फोकस बैलेंस होता है, एक रीजन देता है ये, जबकि रोमांटिसिज्म इमेजिनेशन इमोशंस पर बेस करता है.
बिल्कुल. देखिए that's a valid reason. Some of us we are very scared of feelings. हमें properly अपनी feelings को express करने में शर्म आती है, हिचकिचाहट है, हमें हेसिटेशन फील होती है, हमें फियर ऑफ जजमेंट होता है. अब आई मीन आई डोंट माइंड enjoying a love story and a horror story too. It's nothing, there is nothing wrong with it. If I want to imagine to be a Simran to Shah Rukh Khan, इसमें क्या गलत है? लेकिन हम उसे एक्सप्रेस नहीं करना चाहते, हम नहीं बात करना चाहते that we can see the ceiling fan dancing in the wilderness, बिकॉज वो हमारे लिए रैशनल नहीं है. सीलिंग फैन विल्डरनेस में क्या करेगा और वो क्यों डांस करेगा? लेकिन ये तो इमेजिनेशन है. दिस इज द पावर ऑफ इमेजिनेशन कि हम किसी भी चीज़ को कोई भी करेक्टरिस्टिक दे सकते हैं. सो point being, in my personal opinion, people who like classism, they have these boundaries. They are very much social. They are very much living their lives according to the boundaries set for them by the society. They are scared of society, and which is okay. You should be scared of the society. Society badi khatarnak hai. And on the contrary, people who are willing to experiment, who are willing to like romanticism, they are willing to express, they have a better understanding of their self-worth and their psyche. हमें चीज़ें क्लियर कट सिस्टमैटिक पैटर्न में इसलिए चाहिए ताकि हमें सोचना ना पड़े, ताकि हमें फील ना करना पड़े, ताकि हमें कोई मेहनत ना करनी पड़े. हमारे पास एक पैटर्न हो 2+2=4 और हम अपने काम की तरफ निकल पड़े. दैट इज़ ओके, दैट इज़ स्टेबिलिटी, दैट इज़ कंट्रोल. यू प्रेफर कंट्रोल ओवर chaos. But if you prefer romanticism, if you prefer to express yourself, if you prefer to express your feelings in a manner that you do not really care about what others would say, that means that you have self assessment, you have self reflection, you have acceptance. You see how complicated these components are. Just because though two types of people, they have difference of opinion, classism और romanticism, दोनों ना तो गलत है ना ही करेक्ट है. दोनों की अपनी अपनी बेनिफिट्स हैं, पॉजिटिव्स हैं और नेगेटिव्स हैं. आई होप ये जो मैंने एग्जाम्पल दी है दिस मेक्स मोर सेंस टू यू, कि अगर हम एक्सप्रेशन से डर रहे हैं तो हमें डर सा लगता है कि हम एक्सप्रेस कैसे करेंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल समटाइम्स आई फील लाइक नॉट टेकिंग द क्लास एंड आई एम नॉट अशेम्ड ऑफ इट. मैं बच्चों को बता भी रही हूँ मेरा दिल नहीं कर रहा लेकिन मैं क्लास लूँगी, मतलब बेदिली से भी क्लास में ले लेती हूँ. आई एम नॉट दैट काइंड ऑफ अ पर्सन. सिमिलरली अगर मैं किसी महफिल में बैठी हूँ एंड आई डोंट वांट टू कंट्रीब्यूट टू द कॉन्वर्सेशन और बैक बाइटिंग, आई एम वेरी अपफ्रंट. मैं सीधा कह देती हूँ मुझे चुगली नहीं करनी है. That is my way of expressing. It has landed me into many problems, by the way. I've had many enemies because of being very blunt. ठीक है, वो आपने एक्सरसाइज नहीं कर रहा है लेकिन मैं हूँ ऐसी, मैं बात कर देती हूँ, मुझे नहीं पसंद आ रहा तो नहीं आ रहा. आई एम वेरी डायरेक्ट अबाउट इट. लेकिन ऑन द कॉन्ट्रेरी दूसरे लोग जो होंगे जिसको हम तमीज़ व तमद्दुन का एक पहनावा पहना देते, एक लिहाफ पहना देते हैं, उसमें कहते हैं नहीं नहीं सुन लो कोई बात नहीं. क्यों सुन ले? गलत बात को गलत कहना ज़रूरी है. दैट इज़ रैशनलिज्म बट आई एम एक्सप्रेसिव अबाउट इट. सो यू सी इट्स नॉट दैट कि आप क्लासिज्म को बिल्कुल रोमांटिसिज्म से अलग कर सकते हैं. लाइक फातिमा सेड दैट इज़ वेरी मच करेक्ट. आप प्रॉपरली नहीं कर सकते. लेकिन रोमांटिक्स ने क्या किया था कि वो बहुत ज़्यादा ही बहुत ही ज़्यादा ही ड्रिफ्ट हो गए थे। जब हम उनकी पोइट्री पढ़ेंगे तो आपको पता चलेगा, एंड यू विल अग्री दैट रोमांटिक पोइट्री इज़ मोर कॉम्प्लिकेटेड एज़ कम्पेयर टू द क्लासिकल वन। डज इट मेक सेंस? आई होप नाउ इट मेक्स सेंस. इससे ज़्यादा ईजी एग्जाम्पलिफिकेशन आई कैन नॉट फाइंड एनी.
Yes, ma'am.
ओके, नाउ और कोई क्वेश्चन है तो अभी पूछ लें, अदरवाइज आई एम गोइंग टू मूव फॉरवर्ड टू द 8th पॉइंट. किसी के पास कोई सवाल हो तो.
No, ma'am.
ठीक है. This is the last point. Of course, the comparison and contrast that you can see in this handout is not the only comparison and contrast that you can carry forward. Remember, all the handouts and the material that I share with you, they also have limitations. मतलब और भी इंफॉर्मेशन हो सकती है, लेकिन बिकॉज हमारे पास एक सर्टन टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट है तो मुझे जो बिफिटिंग लगता है आई ब्रिंग दैट इन द क्लासेस. So, eighthly, as a result of this belief in strong traditional codes and ethical rules, the 18th century was conducive to the development of satire and mock heroic poems. Mock क्या होता है? Satire क्या होता है? Satire is when you take one social evil and then you express it. ठीक है, जैसे क्लासिस्ट करते थे, क्लासिज्म में होता था कि ईवल्स को डिस्कस करते थे एक सर्टन लैंग्वेज में और एक सर्टन तरीके से, ताकि मोरालिटी, ethics, virtues, good deeds, goodness, righteousness incorporate की जा सके into the masses who are reading that. Anyone who deviate from the set of norms or behavior of ethical living or moral conduct was severely mocked at. In which century? In 18th century. The Romantics wanted to break away from the tradition and conventions that were so dear to classes and make way for individuality and experimentation. One of the fundamentals of Romanticism is their belief in the natural goodness of man, the idea that man in a state of nature will behave well, but is often hindered by the civilization and enforcements of norms, whereby he loses his इनोसेंस. दिस इज सो ट्रू. आप में से बहुत सारे लोग कंट्री साइड, अच्छा पाकिस्तान में कंट्री साइड नहीं मतलब विलेज साइड से, पहाड़ों से यहाँ आए हैं. आप क्लियरली एक डिफरेंस देख सकते हैं. सिटी लाइफ में बहुत सारी रिजिडिटी है, जस्ट लाइक क्लासिक लिटरेचर. इज दैट करेक्ट बेटे? जो गांव से लोग आए हैं, क्या आपको यहाँ पर बहुत रिजिडिटी दिखती है कि नहीं दिखती? अगर दिखती है तो क्यों दिखती है? कैन यू गिव 1 or 2 रीजंस?
Ma'am, excuse me. Can you repeat your question again?
मैम आप
Actually, I
रिपीट कर
couldn't
सकती हैं,
hear
आपकी
due
वॉइस
to
लैग हो रही थी.
Okay, the question is people who are from gaon, villages, pahadi ilaka or something like that, smaller areas, do you feel the rigidity in urban areas and city lives? That it has more strictness, it has more complication to offer as compared to your hometown?
मैम अगर देखा जाए तो कॉम्प्लिकेशंस तो नहीं है, लेकिन रूल्स रेगुलेशन ज़्यादा फॉलो होती है सिटीज़ में.
ठीक है, fair
इस
enough.
तरह अगर
कि
कंपेयर करते हैं.
right, yani rules and regulations are strictly followed in urban areas as compared to the rural area that you come from. What about
यस मैम.
the environment in terms of nature? What do you
यस,
see in urban areas and in your rural areas? क्या difference है?
मैम गांव और पहाड़ी इलाकों में जैसे आप बोल रही हैं, वहाँ पर लोगों को एक ही इन्वायरमेंट में रहते हैं, नए आइडियाज़ और कल्चरल लाइफस्टाइल लाइक उनका एक्सपोजर नहीं होता, इस वजह से रिजिडिटी होती है.
Very true. One interpretation could be this, that they only evolve when once they leave their hometown for Islamabad or Lahore or Karachi. तब उन्हें पता चलता है कि there is a world waiting for them beyond this. तो वो फिर वो ड्रिफ्ट हो जाते हैं. लेकिन अगर उसी इन्वायरमेंट में रहें, वहाँ पर चेंजेस लाना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है. सो क्लासिज्म में भी यही हो रहा था कि लोग उसी कश्मकश में फंसे हुए थे कि इसको चेंज करना है कि नहीं करना है. तो रोमांटिसिज्म केम इनटू बीइंग एंड इट questioned and challenged this rigidity of understanding that why the goodness of human should come from strict rules only. It can come out if the person is living in its natural inhabitat. Natural inhabitat, God ने हमें जब दुनिया पे भेजा था तो उन्होंने बिल्डिंग्स तो नहीं कहा था, कहीं पे लिखा तो नहीं कि तुम बिल्डिंग्स में रहोगे, कंक्रीट में रहोगे, तुम फलाने तरह के कपड़े पहनोगे, तुम फलाने तरह की बातें करोगे. एवरीथिंग इज, all of us are given free will. We have options and we can choose. हम चूज कर सकते हैं ना. तो अगर गॉड ने हमें चूज करने की पावर दी है तो हम अपनी राइटअप में चेंजेस क्यों नहीं ला सकते. ये भी एक पर्सपेक्टिव था रोमांटिसिज्म में. नेचर और गॉड को साइड बाय साइड देखते हैं रोमांटिक्स. दे डू नॉट सी देम अपार्ट फ्रॉम ईच अदर. We see that protagonists of great romantic poems are simple, innocent, rural folks like Solitary Reaper, The Idiot Boy, The Leech Gatherer, Michael, Lucy Gray, etc. जबकि क्लासिकल लिटरेचर में देखें, जॉन मिल्टन किसकी बात कर रहा है? गॉड, सैटन, डीमंस, एंजल्स. फेरी क्वीन में किसकी बात हो रही है? क्वीन एलिजाबेथ द फर्स्ट, इंपॉर्टेंट पीपल, हिपोक्रेसी ऑफ कोर्टयार्ड. बड़ी बड़ी बातें हो रही हैं, ठीक है. लेकिन और 18th सेंचुरी में रेप ऑफ द लॉक में भी एरिस्टोक्रेट और ब्यूरोक्रेट करेक्टर्स हैं. लेकिन जब हम रोमांटिसिज्म में जाते हैं तो आपके बारे में भी पोएम लिखी जा सकती है, आपके गांव के बारे में पोएम लिखी जा सकती है, आपके रूम पर पोएम लिखी जा सकती है, आपकी किसी फीलिंग पे, आपकी वो जो कंफ्यूज्ड फीलिंग है, स्टेट ऑफ बीइंग है, उस पे पोएम लिखी जा सकती है. सो romanticism gave more room for expression, more clarity for exploration and experimentation. So that was a little introduction to 18th century poetry and how is it different from neoclassical classical literature and how is it different from romanticism. ठीक है. इसी हैंडआउट में बेटे ग्लॉसरी होती है विच इज़ वेरी हेल्पफुल. यू शुड ऑलवेज टेक अ लुक एट इट. कोई भी बात जो ऊपर जैसे मेंशन हो रही है और हमें ना समझ आ रही हो, यहाँ पर वो लिखी होती है. जैसे अभी डिक्शन आया था एक वर्ड, तो दैट इज चॉइस ऑफ वर्ड्स. देन उसके बाद पैरोडी वर्ड आया था टू मॉक, टू कैरी कैचर, नॉवेल्स ऑफ मैनर और ये सारा कुछ. यहाँ पे डाइडेक्टिडिज्म मैंने यूज़ किया एक वर्ड. डाइडेक्टिक का मतलब होता है टीचिंग, मोरल पर्पसेस. ठीक है. तो ये इस तरह से ये हैंड आउट बहुत अच्छे हैं. दिस इज रिटन बाय सम यूनिवर्सिटी, an open university in the west. I don't remember which one is it, but they are authenticated and you should always read from authenticated material. So I hope you have some clarity about 18th century poetry, Augustan poetry, and how it came into being and how it is different from classical literature and romantic poetry as well. So that was a little bit of introduction that I wanted to share with
Ma'am,
you.
excuse me, I have a question.
जी जी पूछे.
Ma'am, when we're talking about the mock and satirical poetry in neoclassicism, are we basically talking about that the poet started to overall blame the society, or the person, a certain person is being blamed that he is not following that certain norm?
Okay, very well, very well put question. The question is, Fatima has raised a very valid question. The question she has raised is that the change that we saw in neoclassical literature, was it based on how poets started seeing people to be responsible for social evils and therefore they started using mock epic or epic traditions or heroic couplets or this style or this way of writing, because the constraints that they had, the restraints, the rules and regulations they had in classical literature, they couldn't just break away from them so quickly. So they had to find an implicit way to showcase what they felt. ठीक है. वो implicitly अपनी बात को वाजिया करने के लिए they started using this technique, they started using experimenting, and they used mocking or satire or irony as a tool, technique or strategy to talk about it. Because इससे पहले बहुत ही serious, sober और सटल किस्म की टोन को यूज़ किया जाता था. मॉक को लाने की ज़रूरत इसलिए भी थी, तंज और मज़ा जिसे आप उर्दू में कहते हैं, लाने की रीज़न ये भी थी कि हर किस्म की ऑडियंस को इसमें इंटरेस्ट हो, हर किस्म की ऑडियंस इसे पढ़ सके और डायरेक्टली उन पर बात भी ना आए. बिकॉज इट वॉज नॉट दैट ईजी टू स्पीक अगेंस्ट दी people in authority. Just like in Pakistan, you cannot speak against authority on a free will. तो उन्होंने अपनी फ्री विल को एग्जीक्यूट भी किया, अपने पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू को एग्जीक्यूट भी किया in a very implicit manner so that message is also conveyed, but then they, later on they can simply say that this is just a fictitious account of what is happening in the society. You get my point कि उन्होंने टैबू टॉपिक्स के बारे में बात की, उन्होंने हिपोक्रेसी, करप्शन, ये सारी बातें की, लेकिन इस अंदाज से की कि यस उसमें बहुत सारे लोग इम्प्लिकेट भी हुए लेकिन इनडायरेक्टली, ताकि कोई उनको ब्लेम ना कर सके। समझ आ रही बात? पॉइंट समझ आया?
Yes, ma'am.
राइट।
मैम क्लासिकल पोइट्री बेसिकली हम वो ग्रीक्स और रोमन्स के टाइम की करते हैं या ओल्ड और मिडल वाला पीरियड तो नहीं आता ना इसमें?
देखिए क्लासिज्म को अगर हम जेनेरिकली कैटेगराइज करना चाहें तो नियो क्लासिक से पहले सब क्लासिक लिटरेचर में आ सकता है, लेकिन अगर ट्रू जिसको कहते हैं ना ओरिजिनल क्लासिकल लिटरेचर, वो वर्जिल, होमर, ग्रीक एंड रोमन मिथोलॉजी ही है। ओल्ड इंग्लिश एंड मिडिल इंग्लिश लिटरेचर वो इन बिटवीन, वो ट्रांजिशन पीरियड में आते हैं, फिर रेनेसांस आता है और फिर इस तरह से चलते हैं। कोई क्लियर कट बाउंड्री नहीं है। दैट इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू।
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.